I think there's quite a lot of awesome things that Ansible does, but I guess I'll go through a list of things I think are pretty amazing. I think the first one that comes to mind is configuration management, mostly because Ansible pretty much lets you automate anything you can think of, all types of devices, and allows you to give that consistency across your different configurations every single time. So that's definitely one. Number two, I would say application deployment. So not only can you use Ansible for configuring your infrastructure, but you can actually use Ansible to automate the process of doing deployments for your applications. And no matter where your applications are, you have that easy access to use Ansible to do that. Number three, orchestration. Orchestration allows you to basically define a series of tasks and run them in a specific order and then manage all those dependencies between them. And when we think about Ansible Automation Platform, it is like the de facto standard when it comes to orchestration because it allows us to do all those pretty awesome things. Security automation. If security is important to you, you're definitely going to want to be using Ansible Automation Platform to fix it. So if you've ever had some issue with an environment that needed to be patched, Ansible makes that super easy for you to do and access and make that happen. Cloud provisioning. If you're on the cloud, no matter what cloud provider you're on, Ansible is great for that. We have all these different modules that you can use that you can automate, whether you're on Amazon AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud. We have all those options for you. Network automation. I like this one especially because when you think about network automation, you don't have, for example, Ansible being agentless gives you that ability where in network operating systems, you can't install an agent. So the fact that Ansible is agentless and you can still interact with these network devices and actually update the configurations, it's super, super sweet. Disaster recovery is another one, especially with Ansible that you're able to do scheduling. So imagine you want to do backups of your disks, or you want to do backups of, let's say, persistent volume claims that you have on OpenShift. You know, Ansible can help you do that. And custom modules and plugins is another great one, especially because we have such a huge community when it comes to Ansible. Because of that community, we have pretty much all the modules that you can think of that have been written. But the fact is, if there's something that you come up with that you need, you're not limited to what's out there. You can actually create your own modules, and you can probably get help from the community to help you do that. So the concept of keeping all of my code on a Git repository and using that as my source of truth and then actually automating against that is also one of the great tips that I always use. Because it makes sure that I can keep everything in one particular place. I know it's updated. I know it's the latest version that I want to use. And it just makes automating so much simpler. And of course, the last one, which I've kind of tied in already, is that community support. The community support on Ansible is absolutely awesome, very engaged and very helpful. So whenever you're thinking about how do I do automation, the one thing you should be thinking about is Ansible. So what tips and tricks should you know? Obviously, that's going to vary based on where you are in your journey when it comes to automation. I think a couple things that I really like are the fact how good the documentation is. A lot of times I think about a particular way of like, I want to automate this particular XYZ. And being able to actually use the documentation, actually see examples on them. There's great examples on how to use it. So you don't have to be an expert on how to use Ansible because there's such great content that you can use. That's idempotency. So try to say that 3 times fast. What I like about the idempotency is when you run something in automation, you're not. If you run it again, you're not breaking things. You're just Ansible is actually going to check to see if that's already been configured for you. So imagine you made some configuration changes on a network switch and now you went ahead and reran your exact Ansible playbook again. Well, Ansible this time would check to see if, well, has this change been made? Yes or no. And if it has, it would just move on to the next task, right? So you don't have to worry about, oh, what happens if I run it again? Is it going to break things? So there's different ways to get started with Ansible. One of the ways that I would get started is obviously you can check out the Ansible automation platform. We have a trial online that you can download and you start using it today. We have some on-demand labs that you can access so you can play with it and get familiar with it. So not only from beginner courses, but actually more advanced. So you can see different features like event-driven Ansible or network automation. You have those different options. And we actually have even a technical course that you can actually take. And that will be very helpful when you start feeling more comfortable with Ansible and you want to become an absolute pro. You can take this course and get that certificate.